Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doby, and today, I have the most undusty hip-hop elder ever in the creation of man by the name of DJ Tony Crush. He is the founder, the original DJ Tony of the ColdCrush Brothers. He is a twin to me. He's a Gemini, born on June 16th, a few years earlier. You know what I mean? He's Bronx born, lives in Bridgeport, Connecticut at this moment, but he's still out moving and grooving on behalf of hip hop, performing shows and whatnot. And he's here to drop a little knowledge on us today, man. Thank you, legend, for being in the house.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. You know, it's great to see you. You know what I mean? It's great to see you.
It's great to be seen, man.
It's better to be seen than viewed. That's what I always say. You know what I mean? So most definitely. So look, let's get into it because the youngsters don't know a lot of the history. Most of them don't know any of the history. And so I would like to just kick off with you telling us from the inside looking out, who is DJ Tony Tone?
Well, Tony Tone is a kid that grew up in the Bronx. Was in gangs before hip hop, was a graffiti writer before hip hop. And I tried my hand at breakdancing, but it was a different breakdancing at that time. It was more style and finesse at that time. The fashion part of hip hop, mock necks, short skins, permanent crease, Levi's and Lee's. Well, Lee's, not Levi's, Lee's. Shell-toed, rips, Playboys, Marshmallow, those footwear. I even wore the elevated shoes with the 3-inch heels, the 4-inch heels, and all that.
Oh, the platforms.
Went from 3-piece to a 2-piece. I don't speak on it, but I may have been the first one without shoestrings in my Adidas early in the game. Okay. I'm one of those cats that started with this group, broke off, and started my own thing. I'm one of those cats when I came in Disco Fever, a guy named Russell Simmons would run up to me and ask me to explain what we was doing at that time. And I would sit and talk to him. So he would always say, explain to me. I want my brother them to learn from y'all. I want my brother and them to battle y'all so they can see what it actually is. I'm one of those cats that when he signed LL, he called me down to the record company to meet LL and to ask me how could I help LL. And I offered LL to come where we was playing that night and ask for me at the door. And I would come down and get him in. Not leave his name at the door, but I would come down and get him in when he first came out with his first record. And when I went down to get him in, I was like, well, it was at Broadway International. And I was like, well, take your record to the DJ and ask him to play it. At that time, Shaka Khan is in our VIP area. We opening up for a New Edition at this time. We was the go-to group to open up for them. We opened up for Run Them one time in Chicopee, Massachusetts. But, it always came to, I swear, people saying, okay, we can't let that happen no more. They too good to be an opening up act. Because later on, when I spoke with Russell at one time, and I said, Russell, we could be an opening act for your groups. And he was like, yo, y'all not an opening act. We don't see no different. We just get up there and do our style of hip hop. We not trying to outdo anybody. We figure if you got a hit record, you should be able to hold your own.
Yeah.
But I've heard different people not wanting to come on after us. A long list of the so-called hit record makers and stuff like that. Like I said, I did graffiti to the point of jonesing, like a junkie off graffiti, whereas my mother let me write in my room to get it out of my system. I'm a kid from the streets. I'm a kid from the Bronx. In 74, me, Africa Bambaataa, Breakout, Andre Harrell, Tila Rock, and Love Bustowski, all of us was in the same school, Stevenson High School in the Bronx at that time. All 6 of us was in this school at the same time. And at least 4 of us at the time was doing hip hop already. Other cats was just DJing in the Bronx, in Harlem. But when you in Japan in '83, you doing a different hip hop. With no hit record. We did the movie Wild Style in '81, '82. And that took us to Japan and a couple other places. So, I've traveled a lot of the world, not even having a hit record, just being a hip hop DJ and just being ColdCrush. Because a lot of people don't even know I started with Breakout and Baron when it was just KK Rockwell. It wasn't even a Funky Four. I helped build the Funky Four. I helped build the Brothers Disco. And when they signed to Sugar Hill Records, things started to go awry and different things started happening. They started dissecting the group. So I made up my mind that I wasn't through with doing hip hop like we was doing it. So I started looking to build my own crew, which became the ColdCrush Brothers. It's been 50 years. I've seen it change up, and it's still changing up. And a lot of it is coming back to what it was because it has to keep going. Some of it got to come back to some realness because a lot of the stuff they doing now don't have no realness to it. It's not teaching no more. Doing hip hop is teaching, sharing. Like it's cold outside, but you got to go out there. A lot of the so-called DJs don't know how to put a system together. They don't know how to set up turntables. They don't know how to do a lot of stuff. It's a lot of DJs still running around playing vinyl. You don't see that in their hip hop, And I'm telling cats now, I'm saying, we can get back to doing our style of parties with vinyl and with the integrity of the culture of hip hop, not just booty shaking and the bling bling. Yeah, in the beginning, we all wore rope chains, medallions, 4-finger rings, all that. But the teachings of Africa Bambaataa showed us that wasn't a big part of it, that we could do it without all that. So a lot of us let a lot of that go and try to keep things as pure as it can possibly be. We got away from the N word, we got away from the B words to really have some substance in what we was doing and how we was doing it. Zulu Nation do the Zulu anniversary every year. And the first night is the night that all generations could come. A grandfather could come with the father and with the father's son and enjoy hip hop without all the negative stuff. We used to do meetings of the mind on the Sunday of the Zulu Nation to bring communities together and professors from colleges and try to see what's going on in people's area that we can come up with a way to help that area to bring community-friendly events to that area. You know, you don't hear about too many other organizations doing that. And this was bringing people together in the Bronx from Paris, France, England, Germany, at the Zulu anniversary, because Zulus was all over the world. And they would come to represent their country to Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation.
Wow.
And this been going on all the while. You know, we try to get back to it, but certain things, certain negative elements are trying to keep us from getting back to that because it's too positive. Just like the backpack situation where the backpack, you know, the positive rappers and all that was sharing positive words. And they just killed that off because they don't want it. They want the negative to stay in our face. They want the people to be scared of hip hop culture, to be scared of hip hop because hip hop is trying to say, listen, we don't think of our women as bees. We don't think of ourselves as in. We're trying to correct all that. And the big companies want to keep that going. You know, they don't want you to teach people the correct way to eat, exercise, and stuff like that. They want you to keep buying all this slowly killing yourself food and stuff like that. So we try to share, you know, and like I said, if you're not teaching, you're not actually doing the culture of hip hop. You're not sharing. The word, when we first started, it used to be each one teach one.
Right.
You know, because you got to look out for the brother, man. You got to look out the Mother Earths and the indigenous people. And hip hop was about bringing different cultures together so you could learn from different cultures and understand and see how other people are living. And it just like, you know, character assassination on hip hop, crazy for years, but we still been fighting to keep it pure and keep it. I don't even, my kids, my son is 16, he don't even look at me as a hip hop pioneer. He don't even, you know, he know I'm somebody, but he don't look at it as my father is somebody. You know, he just look, that's my dad.
Right.
You know? But, you know, it's like I'm in 4 museums, the Smithsonian being the last. And you know, he's been to the museum and he's seen it. But I found out that a lot of kids don't even know what the Smithsonian is. Yeah. A lot of kids don't even know what library is. I was talking to a kid. I was in Atlantic City to a DJ conference and stuff. So we standing there talking, and I'm talking about libraries and the Smithsonian, and the kid is looking at me like, and I say, you do know what a library is. And she said, no, what is it? Wow. And I looked at the parents. And the parents didn't realize it. And I said, hey, what's going on? They said, we'll correct that tomorrow, Tone. Because they're in the media world.
Right.
They're in the media world. This is, like when the Germans was burning books, just another way of burning books.
Taking the knowledge of the existence of books away is burning them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
And but it ain't their fault.
Right.
And it ain't our fault neither, because you got to stay on the grind to realize what's going on around you. A lot of people are just accepting all the new things and we growing, but they don't understand that this is being used against us. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. They're not blinding us in the eyesight, they blinding us in the mind. They stifling the thinking of even the old people. The older people, they just stifling the way you think and innovate, and they put this thing in your hand, in your pocket, and it controls your life. This phone controls your life. This computer controls your life, and tell them exactly who you are. Somebody told me the other day, we was talking, and they was like, yeah, everything is on my phone. My heart rate, my blood pressure, everything. You put the watch on and it tells them all your vitals. I said, yeah, and they probably can determine when you gonna die. Because you giving them everything they need. So when they know you got high blood pressure, they know all that already because you putting it into the phone.
Right.
I had the Google Dot in my bedroom, and my wife said, Alexa, how often do you report back? And she said, I report back every 3 minutes. So I threw it out the window.
Wow.
I don't have nothing to hide, but why do you need this thing to report to you every 3 minutes? This is how they stay on top of everything.
Right.
Because they getting so much information. Yeah. They getting so much information that they can control. It's like peeking in the brain.
I never heard it put that way.
He always, I'm gonna take over the world. They got it.
Right.
Because they keeping tabs on everybody. Mm. They're not just keeping tabs on Black people, white people, Spanish people. They keeping tabs on everybody. And they know the health rates of Blacks, and they know the health rates of Spanish people, and they keep feeding you that same thing. And trying to keep your high blood pressure up, and trying to, when you go to the doctor is confusing you whether you got high blood pressure, whether you got whatever. And he just trying to get you on this medication, that you can't get off.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around. It's been proven that there's a lot of that going around. But back to hip hop. November is National Hip Hop Month. And then 2023 is the actual 50th anniversary.
Well, it's the 50th year for hip hop in the Bronx.
Okay.
Other places followed suit, some 10 years later, some 4 years later. So I'm reaching out to people I'm reaching out to people more my age in other states saying, when do you say y'all started hip hop? Because the first time I went to Denver, I used to go to Denver every July to stay with a Mexican family to teach hip hop, sit down with kids and help. And they put out a documentary that their mayor came to New York. And when he came back, he said, yo, we got to do this here because it got the gangs under control in the Bronx. So they state that they started hip hop 10 years after us. So it wouldn't be 50 years for them.
But it's still overall the 50th anniversary of the 50th anniversary of hip hop as it's recognized as a genre, as a culture.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so,
but
yeah.
Now the first 6 to 8 years, we wasn't even calling it hip hop.
Right.
It was just we jamming, whatever. It really didn't have a solidified name, and Big Company branded it that over Keith Cowboy and Love Bug Starsky saying to the hip, to the hop.
Okay.
In their rhymes and in their dealings in their parties. So when people ask me what is my favorite time of hip hop, I'm saying, well, it has to be before it was even named hip hop, because that was the purest of it.
Wow.
You know, and in today, it don't register with people, because a lot of people, the majority of people now only know hip hop. They don't know it before it was named hip hop. And they're not wrong, because that's what they was born into. I wasn't born into it.
Okay.
You know, it was me walking into a Cool Herc party and realizing this is something different. It was me becoming friends with Africa Bambaataa and going to a Zulu anniversary, a Zulu party, and seeing the difference in what he was playing. What they was playing wasn't really being played on the radio.
Right.
It's just obscure music that they wasn't willing to play on the radio. They didn't know it to play it on the radio. They didn't know it to play it on the radio. You know, but, you know, Gil Scott-Heron with the bottle, the revolution won't be televised. They wouldn't play a lot of that stuff.
Mm.
You know, a lot of jazz. If it was Bob James record, it probably wouldn't have been played on a soul radio. It wasn't even R&B at the time. It was soul music.
Right.
You know, so even the changing of the categories of music wasn't what they is today. You know, it might have been rock and roll, soul, jazz, and it wasn't being mixed together.
Mm.
It was separated. And that's a big thing of theirs, to keep it separated. So now we come in, you know, some people are house DJs, some people are jazz, they only listen to jazz. We listen to everything. And we play everything. So, you know.
That's what sparked the sampling, the addition of sampling into hip hop.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was by listening to everything and being familiar with music as a whole.
Yes.
You know?
It's you know, okay, Herc went from playing the record from beginning to end to now blending records,
right.
Which in the garage, I saw the documentary on the garage, and they was calling it the change up.
Okay.
But they still wasn't, I don't think at that time, they wasn't doing 2 records. Herc showed us that we had to have two of these records. We can do a party with one of these records and go from record to record. But then it became we had to buy two of these records because we was keeping the beat going. We was extending the break. We was extending the music. I just did something maybe 2 weeks ago, and I played a lot of the songs that Herb played in his records. And the crowd is looking at me because they don't see this as hip hop, but it was our hip hop. So okay. I try to introduce them to the music that started hip hop. And some people, that was fire. That was, incredible. And some people is like, okay, let's just get back to the break beats. I don't care to know that. People come over and say, well, who is that? And I say, it's the Jackson 5. But they don't know that Jackson 5.
Uh-huh.
When they come over to me and they say, well, who's that? And I say, it's Earth, Wind, and Fire. They don't know that Earth, Wind, and Fire. When I say that's Kool and the Gang, they don't know that Kool and the Gang because Kool and the Gang changed up as they grew and as the music changed up. Mm-hmm. So they changed up their style of playing because they was very funky and when they first came out. Who's Gonna Take the Weight? Funky Man, Funky Frog. They was real funky.
I remember Funky Frog, yeah.
Yeah. Ohio Players, a whole different,
Yeah.
Different music.
Sticky Wet and all that, yeah.
New Birth.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't heard that name in a minute.
Yeah. This is what Herc was playing, but he also was playing Donald Byrd. He also was playing Santana. He also was playing Etta James, Jay Gow's band. Come on, Walk This Way. We was playing Walk This Way 20 years before Run DMC did Walk This Way. It was already a classic in hip hop. Okay. They just took it and made it one of their songs.
Did a good job too.
Yeah, they did a good job. They brought Errol Smith and them back to life.
Yeah, they did.
Even though they didn't appreciate it, I heard, but they brought them back to life. As well as all the sampling brought James Brown to another culture, another group of people, younger, older. Bob James, he was like, he didn't even know that they was using his music till his nephew, I think his nephew brought it to his attention, like, yo, they using your stuff. But he did a video saying, yo, thank y'all. Reach out to me. I work with y'all. Come on.
Amazing.
It was the rebirth of a lot of things. I ain't gonna say everything, but it was the rebirth of a lot of things and brought a lot of people back to being special to different people. Even though they won't give you the credit, they gonna act like, nah, I didn't need y'all to touch my stuff. When in actuality, they did. Even what's it? Nile Rodgers. Nile Rodgers said the biggest check he ever got was from Rapper's Delight.
Really?
Yeah. He put it out there. He's like, yo, that's the biggest check I ever got.
Wow.
He lives in Connecticut around here someplace.
And
he's happy. He like, yo, thank y'all. But we was kids with no rules and no format. We just doing what we felt was good. And we didn't want to keep it to ourselves. We wanted to share it with the world.
And so now with the evolution, see, I am a knucklehead when it comes to this. I create a division between rap and hip hop. For me, hip hop is a cultural thing. And rap is just a progeny of the hip hop parent. You know, it's part and parcel with it, but the things that they're doing now, sometimes I'm like, there's no hip hop to that. It's just rap. It's
because big company looked at the elements, DJing, MCing, graffiti, breakdancing.
Yeah.
They looked at everything except the fifth element. That's knowledge. They don't want to touch that.
Right.
And they trying to stop us from touching it. But they looked at the first four elements and said, how can we capitalize off this?
Right.
And yeah, they went with the rap first. And they went with the fashion. And they with it at the DJs. You know, all the equipment costs so much. You know, you buy a $2,000 mixer, in 3 months you got to buy a newer $3,000 mixer. And they got people doing it. Like every 3 months you pay $2,000 for a mixer because they upgrading it, and the social media, you can download this, you can't download this no more, you know, and they just got you a slave to trying to keep up with what will work, because you don't want to be doing a party. My friend Mel Starr said he was in front of 50,000 people, and his device that he was DJing on started going crazy.
Wow.
So if you don't keep it updated right, it will. You always got to be nervous about whether this computer gonna shut down on you, just bug out on you, or whatever. You know, and they got us in the chokehold.
Right.
Their science is controlling a lot that's going on.
Yeah. I think, what was it? What was the first one that came on? Serato, and then you got Machine. And
I met the guys that came up with Serato. Every time I see them, they drunk and laughing because they filthy. They filthy.
Yeah.
They filthy.
They're getting paid.
Yes.
But at the same time, it did save y'all from carrying a ton of records, ton of vinyl up and down the stairs, and you know, you still got to carry the speakers and a casket, but them record crates, I got a few back there. I got some more in storage. You know what I mean? I got a little something, but I don't DJ. I just listen. I just happen to like the pop of vinyl, you know?
Yeah.
So it did save y'all's backs a little bit, and the knees.
Well, it did. It did. But it also, it might went from 5,000 DJs in the world to 100,000 DJs in the world now.
Yeah.
You got DJs, just because he got a marshmallow head on, he making $1 million a year.
Yeah, but he's not a hip hop DJ. He's an EDM DJ, and Marshmello, he's a bad brother, man. He actually creates a lot of sounds, but he does give respect to the hip hop sounds that he uses. You know what I mean? So same as Deadmau5.
But I'm not saying anything wrong with him and the money he's making in his genre of music.
Right.
But if I ask like some places I go, I get $1,000 to DJ for an hour. Okay. And that's all they need. They want me there for an hour. Okay. They don't want me there for 6 hours, and you know, and I'm all right with that.
Right.
And I'm all right with that. And if I ain't, I'm not getting what I want, I'd rather not DJ.
Right.
Because I'm not a $250 DJ.
Oh no.
But it's a bunch of $250 DJs out there. And they, you know, yeah, everybody can do it. If they can afford to do it, yeah, they can do it. But when you willing to undercut and you ain't willing to stay with the standards of, everybody got used to have to stand up and do the Pledge of Allegiance, whether you wanted to or not.
Right.
So that kept us, a lot of us on the same standard. These cats are undercut you and just degrade what's going on. A lot of them, I've been in situations, I've heard about situations where the DJ is up there, you can't see what he's doing. And if the power go out, his set starts all over because he playing a CD. He ain't even DJ. He playing a CD. But he up there jumping around like he DJing. I mean, this technology done made it just easy for you to fool people. And like, most of the time they got them where people can't see what they doing. And people don't even care as long as they having a good time. They don't even care.
I want to know, how can you be on the stage playing with the crowd and the music still going and still call yourself a DJ? So,
hey, listen, they gonna call me a hater when they hear that. Oh, he hates it. No, I'm not hating. I'm just saying, keep it. If it's genuine, people, don't mind paying for it.
Right.
If it's people come to see you do a craft, they don't want to come in and you don't went in the studio and made this perfect CD. Now you playing it.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got the studio there. A lot of these cats can't do it live. And they care not to do it live.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interacting with your crowd, with the people that love it,
So they bring the party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude came up to me and said, yo, every time I go see this DJ, I know where he's going. I know what's the next record because he do the same set every time. Because they don't have the knowledge of music. They don't have they just do it the same way every time. Mm-hmm. And my partner used to get mad like, yo, we doing the same show. And I used to look at him and tell him, yeah, but we ain't in the same state. We're not in the same country. So when you go see Patti LaBelle, any entertainer, they gonna do the same show because they're not in the same state. They're not in the same venue. They might change it up a little bit. If they got another new record, they add a new record. But for you to say, you can't change it up every night if you're in the same place every night. You could change it up more if you're in the same place for a week. Okay, Monday I'm gonna do this way. Tuesday I'm gonna do this because you're in the same place. But even when people is on Las Vegas and they got 6 months, the crowd ain't the same.
Right.
This crowd ain't the same, so they could do the same show every night. Right. And if somebody choose to come back again to see them within that, okay, you get to see the same show twice. But you can't put, it's like, that's why the people get burnt out because they try to get an audience different flavors and stuff like that. And a lot of people, I had a dude faint in my arms in Denver. I whispered in his ear who I was, and I had to grab him because he fainted.
Wow.
And I grabbed him and I shook him. And I said, yo, you all right? You all right? And he said, yo, what did you say? He said, did you say you was Tony Tone of the ColdCrush Brothers? I said, yeah, I am. He said, yo, I would never thought I would meet you in a park in Denver. He said, y'all are like myths. Y'all are like tall stories that people hear about but never witness.
Mm.
And then he pulled out his phone and his screensaver was ColdCrush.
Wow.
He said, yo, I do my own animation. He put out his phone and ColdCrush was his screensaver. And then he played the whole video and he had it in his whole video. Like, and you know, that touched me.
Okay.
That touched me. That I was someplace that I had never been before. And it was somebody that was there that thought that much of us to have it as a screensaver.
And fainted.
Yeah, and fainted, yes.
A whole dude did a faint like you was Michael Jackson or something. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, to some people.
To hip hop you are, yeah.
Yeah. I was in Munich, Germany. They had brought me to Munich, Germany to DJ for an hour. And I was walking and this kid ran up to me and he said, yo, you're, and I said, who am I? And he said, you're Tony Toe from the ColdCrush. I was like, oh, Munich, Germany?
Wow.
So, I mean, and still, this is before Serato. I got 2 bags of records. I might have had about 50 to 75 records in these 2 bags. I'm traveling with vinyl.
Right.
It ain't Serato yet.
Right.
So, you know, it's like we touched the universe with this thing. And this is why I don't understand why people don't sort out. Don't say, come here, I got work for y'all here. Because we still able to do it and we still able to teach. Last time I went to Tucson University, I went there to do they wanted secrets. So I went there and I mean, I might have talked for 20 minutes and DJed for 20 minutes for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they was happy with it. They was happy with it, you know. They was happy. I took DJ Rock and Rob with me. Rock and Rob is like maybe second generation. He's still playing. He's 60. He's still playing 45s and he's a phenomenal DJ. His son is DJ Flawless, and he took after him. And Flawless is a phenomenal DJ. My son couldn't care. My son loves hockey, and he plays hockey. He couldn't care about being a DJ. He couldn't care about records or none of that. I don't even know if he cared about me being who I am. You know.
Yeah.
But I tell Rob all the time, I say, yo, you lucky that he took it and he caught on. He's a phenomenal DJ. He's a turntablist DJ. So, you know, he's really, really good. But when I meet turntablists, younger DJs, and they like, yo, thank you. You know, when I met Snoop Dogg, he whispered in my ear, thank you. I love West Coast cats. It ain't no beef with us.
Right.
It ain't no real beef with us. That's the media, and that's big company making those things seem like they giants. They're not giants. It's like a pebble in your shoe. You know, you're gonna take your shoe off and get rid of it, but they keeping it in their shoe because people are falling for it. And you know, Biggie and Tupac didn't have to die.
That's real.
And I got calls from the West Coast like, yo, can you step in? And I told people that was calling me, they not gonna listen to me. You got people, Africa Bambaataa used to take people, he used to pull Farrakhan in to help get rid of beefs and stuff. But then they got away from doing that type of stuff because people got away from looking at them as spiritual leaders and people to talk to as a positive person. Society keeps want to keep the negative going. They don't want to cure the problem. They want to keep it going so they can constantly make money off it, whether it's medicine, whether it's clothing, whether it's music. I heard stories about record companies giving people lists. This many N words in your record, this many B words in your record, this many gunshots, killing, and when you giving people $1 million checks and all that stuff, even though they got to pay it back,
right?
Even though you might not get another dime, but you giving them $1 million, and they think that's the world. They don't know you. How many of us think, oh, I could spend through $1 million within 5 years? Some people can spend through it in within a year.
Within 5 minutes. Yeah.
But we're not teaching. We're not teaching, and they're not trying to learn. They just trying to go with whoever willing to give them $1 million, $50 million. And when they look at us and we try to say something, oh, you salty, you this, you dusty. Right now I'm sitting in the house and my backyard I got a lake in my backyard. Maybe about 500 houses around this lake. It's not a small lake. I don't think I'm dusty because I get out here and I make my own money. But the concept of us being dusty is what they would want people to think of us. But if we dusty, then the next generation to the next generation to the next generation got to be dusty at some point because big company want to keep the control and they don't want anything good to shine. They want to control the narrative. So yeah, they're going to put out there, these guys ain't doing well and la, 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 But we reach back and we reach forward to help people after us and before us. And I know a lot of them, the ones that have became millionaires, have donated and opened schools and stuff like that. And that's great. I can't take nothing away from that. But how often do you come to the hood and say, listen, I want to buy up some of these buildings and fix them up?
Yeah, buy the block back. Do the thing that Jackie Robinson started for our culture. Started buying the block back in the 60s, man. Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? They'll come in here and buy up the block.
Yeah.
Other people will come up here and buy up the block, but they're not going to let us stay there. They're going to buy up the block and then move us out to another block and bring their people in.
Right.
My wife, she got her business is Seeking Education. She goes into schools and try to help them bring up their math levels. Tennessee, South Carolina, Chicago. She travels. She's on the road often. But she said, she can't find good teachers. She said most of the time she go in school systems, she got to fight to teach teachers how to teach math. Different ways of teaching math. Even my son, I went to a teacher's parent meeting and they said something about teaching them this. And I said, y'all still teaching the same thing I learned when I was in school? I'm like, why? Because they want to keep us stagnant.
Mm.
And hip hop culture, it's like, okay, we got to clean this blood and we got to get new blood. We got to get the dirt, the negative, the dirt out of the blood and give new blood, pure blood, that people can live longer, think different, smarter. We get to a certain point and we all right with that point. And hip hop, whether it's going backwards or forward, it's forever changing. Sometimes negative, but most of the time positive. They don't talk about the positives in hip hop though. They don't talk about in 2000 we was asked to come to the United Nations to sign hip hop in as an actual culture in America. And we had delegates from other countries there signing it too, saying how hip hop helped their country. Countries that didn't even speak English, countries that we had never been to, but hip hop got there and helped their country. So they don't talk about us going to the United Nations to sign a treaty that recognize hip hop as a culture. They don't talk about Cornell University inducting the first 20 years of hip hop culture. A whole lot of stuff that goes on in the positive world of the culture of hip hop. It don't get out there. It don't get on the news or anything like that.
Man, you just dropped a nugget on me, baby, that I am going to explore. I need to know what year that was. That you went
2000.
2000?
Yes. Mr. KRS-One was a big part of it. Africa Bambaataa, Herc was there. I'll send you pictures. Of all of us there. You got son one is KRS like right hand.
Okay.
I'll send you his information. I was just on tour with KRS December. Him in the Temple of Hip Hop. Yeah, a lot of stuff is not even spoke about.
Yeah, but you know what?
Because it's dealing with us.
No, it's because y'all don't have teams that know how to handle and talk to the media to get it out. Look, if it hadn't have been for Tony, we wouldn't be on the phone now because I wouldn't have known how to get to you. You might not have been as technically savvy as you needed to be to get to me. And your team might not have reached out the right way. You know what I mean?
I'm building a new team right now. So Tony is like my right hand. He's always thinking, he's saying, yo, we got to get this out there. We got to get this out there. We got to do the documentary. We got to do a book. And, I'm 63 and still got a 16-year-old kid and going through a divorce. So, it's like, okay, I'm like, yo, like, stay on top of me. I want to do this before my last day. I want to share as much with the world as possible. When the Smithsonian people came to my house 5 years ago, and I turned them down. I said, well, I'm already in 3 museums and ain't nothing happening from that. I ain't getting no money, nothing. But she looked at me and she said, Emmett Till. And I said, Emmett Till, what? And she said, you would be in the same building as Emmett Till. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
But our kids might not even know who Emmett Till is. They just did the Netflix thing on him. Emmett Till, Yusuf Hawkins, you know, I was a kid. I grew up in those times. And really, you know, super vibe that stuck with me. And I understand Emmett Till is, you know, sad story, whatever. But I understood it enough to want to be in the same building with him.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I'm not getting nothing out of being in the Smithsonian except notoriety. People find out, people go down there, they call me, yo, you in the Smithsonian? I said, yeah, I told you that. Yeah, but I didn't think, you know, I didn't know this is what you meant. Like, yeah. After being in the Smithsonian, maybe 3 years later, I found out about the Green Book. I never heard of the Green Book. Never knew anything about the Green Book.
What is the Green Book?
The Green Book is a situation that I was watching Killer Mike, and Killer Mike was trying to live. Should I say he was trying to live like I don't want to say black. He want to live like they used to live. And the Green Book was a book that told Black people what roads to take, what hotels they could stay in without being hung and stuff like that. It gave them a map of what was Black.
It was a survival manual.
Yeah.
For Black people.
Yes. I never heard of it until maybe 3 years ago.
I hadn't heard of it until you said it right now.
So a couple of years ago, my wife had to go down to Montgomery and work. So we did a road trip. We went to the Smithsonian for 2 days. My kids got to see me in the Smithsonian. And then we went to Martin Luther King House, the Civil Rights Museum, the Lynching Museum. We went down to the bridge. We went across the bridge 3 or 4 times. We did that to show our kids, like, yo, I'm finding out that nobody has been ever prosecuted for lynching. Not up until today, nobody has been prosecuted for that. And I think that I'm holding myself back because I don't want to say the wrong thing on the phone. You know, they got trigger words and stuff like that.
Right.
So, you know, I don't want to say this wrong. You know, we got to watch this cat because he's, you know, he's willing to say certain things. And I am willing to say it, but
I'm willing to publish it. So look, I did an expose on the major record labels being major contributors or shareholders in the private prison industrial complex.
Oh, of course, but you know it's only 2 real record companies. It's only 2 real record companies. Everything else is subsidiary of.
So you got Universal. And I don't know the other one.
I know it's Universal. I forgot the other one. But everything of is bits and pieces of them. So I tell people, you hunting a ghost.
Right.
You get your people together. Prince did it. Other people did it. They start putting out their own music, making their own money, getting their own money. But they got people thinking that they have to sign this deal that don't give you nothing. Yeah, they might give you a signing bonus, but you got to give that all back before you actually make some money.
Right. Right.
LL had to give Russell Simmons 11 albums.
Say he had to give him 11 albums?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He had to give him 11 albums before he can start making some real money.
That's wild.
He signed a deal that said he had to give them 11 albums. And if I'm wrong, LL, correct me. Somebody correct me.
Wow, that's crazy.
Even Sugar Hill Records, they still fighting for money. Every group that was on Sugar Hill Records is still fighting for money today. They just won a case and they still ain't got no money. Everybody that was on Sugar Hill Records.
Yeah, George Clinton's got his Flashlight 13 project. He's still trying to get his money.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Look, I know that I'm looking at the time. I know that you have an appointment that you're supposed to be at. You're supposed to be.
I got 40 minutes to get to.
You got 40 minutes?
40 minutes.
Okay.
Listen.
I'm like, you can be killed by yourself. Don't get me killed with you.
Nah. She out of town.
Okay.
You know, and plus, you know.
Right.
Listen, she know when it comes to this. Somebody told me the other day, a couple of years, 2 years ago, they said, yo, y'all got to start talking more. Y'all got to start sharing what y'all went through, going through. And he said, yo, y'all got to be aware of character assassination. You know, he said people gonna start saying stuff about y'all and just to get y'all out of the picture, all the way out the picture, because y'all still got your foot in the picture. They trying to get y'all all the way out so they can say what it was, what it is, and people are more willing to listen to them. You know, it's like, you know, I'm on the social media and I find two people saying I'm gay. Like, I'm like, why would somebody be saying I'm gay? But that's what they do. That's what if I was gay, I would be man enough to say it. Like, yo. So, you know, but people will try to shut down and start where they came in at. Because everybody want to be at the beginning. I'm like, how you gonna be 40 years old and you was at the beginning?
Right.
By time it get to most of these cats, a lot of this stuff we already did in the first 8 years. We did a lot of this stuff and we got away from it. And people picked it up and brought it back. So now it's new to other people, but it ain't new to us.
Right.
And if you can revive something, fine. We revived a whole lot of music. We didn't get paid for it. But Herc, Bambaataa, Flash, Furious 5, Breakout and Baron, me and the ColdCrush, we showed people how to do this. And how they can be somebody. And you know, it's like no credit. It's no credit. Like, then when I see cats in my age range still out there just promoting negative, and I'm like, I just shake my head. I stopped drinking and I fell out in the Kool Herc party.
Wow.
I was 17. I fell out in the Kool Herc party. I was drunk as a skunk. I quit the next day. Cold turkey. Quit. Because I said I want to be awoke. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what I got to do next to keep this going, because it was so good to me. It was so mind-blowing to me that the music that we was playing was so good to so many people. The first time I walked up on Herc, I stood behind Herc, and it was like I could feel his aura. I could feel his passion. And I love Herc till today. It's this thing about who started hip hop. I give it to Herc. And Bam has always said Herc. A situation came up and some people were saying stuff and they was around Bam. And I looked at Bam and I said, Bam, are you saying what they said? And he said, no, I'm not saying what they said. And that's all I have to hear. You know, certain people want to keep the order straight, at least the first three. They want to keep the order straight. Because if we take these people out of their place, then it's a free-for-all for everybody.
Right.
So
I've always heard Herc, you know.
And to tell the truth, he knew he was playing the music. He probably didn't realize what he was starting. He knew he was playing the music that people loved and was willing to pay to come see. So he kept it going. But he was also teaching us in his party, like, yo, if you want to get behind me, not personally, but we understanding, we gathering what he's doing. And then Africa come in with the elements, putting the elements in place. So now we teaching the Zulus, he teaching the two, each one teach one. Positive movement. You know, yeah, he the only person that ever talked to us about the Moors and the indigenous tribes and stuff like that. He the only one. And I took an older friend with me to have a meeting with him. And I said, listen, I'm gonna sit you beside him. Within 5 minutes, he gonna teach you something. So we sitting in Applebee's and we talking, and my friend looked at me and started shaking his head. Yes, he just taught me something that I didn't know.
Well, I've learned like 3 things since we've been on this conversation that I didn't know. And I consider myself to be a fan of hip hop. I haven't always lived inside the culture of hip hop.
People are scared of it.
Well, no, I was in the military. So
but I'm saying,
I lived a different life.
Yeah. When it's too positive, people shy away from it. I've been hard in the streets. I've been hard in the streets. I've been detained for a while.
I got you. I understand.
But when I came home, I came back to hip hop. And I said to myself, was it worth it? No, it wasn't. Okay, let me be humble. Let me do more positive than negative. Let me wake up in the morning and thank God. You know, and help people see that living a positive life ain't bad. You know, but people want what they want from you. And if they don't get it, then it's like, you know, that it ain't worth it. No, it's worth it. It's worth it. Because when you having dreams about seeing yourself getting shot in the head and you standing over yourself and you see a hole in your head, a hole in your chest. And my man said, yo, you driving yourself crazy. That's what he told me. He said, yo, you driving yourself crazy. And I appreciate what he told me. And I said, okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna work at. I didn't become for a while. I was reading the Bible verse for verse, and I walk around with the King James Bible, this Bible, and that Bible, and I'm going through it, but I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to cure myself, but because at some point we stop thinking and we just listen and follow what somebody else is saying. You stop thinking for yourself. And they turn a lot of us against each other because it was set up like that in the 70s.
Before that, I mean, you got to go back to the time when, Congress had Jackie Robinson in front of them trying to get him to speak against Paul Robeson.
Yeah.
He refused to do it. You know what I mean? So,
can't have a man in your life. If you got a man and living in your house, you can't get that check. And, I tell people all of this stuff is by design.
Right.
Stop thinking this shit is just happening. It's by design.
Right.
But we're not willing to. A lot of people go along. Just don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. I was in some place and we started playing hip hop, and the older people start. You can see their body language. So I went over, and these guys might have been 10 to 20 years older than me. So we start talking, because they look at us all being, unintelligent.
Right.
So I said, well, why don't you think this could be this silent revolution? And they looked at me and said, ain't no revolution. After Malcolm and King, ain't no more revolution. And I said, you don't think this could be it? He said, let me tell you something. He said, right now they can come in here and kill all of us. And they'll be the same ones telling our parents and our family, we're going to find out who did this. Now, I'm maybe 30 or 40 at that time.
Right.
And it hit me soon as he said it. It hit me soon as he said it. Like, you're right. Because we don't want to understand who the real enemy is. And the real enemy is the same people that feed us every day. They in control of everything. And it's scary when you actually think about it. We had 100 black colonies in America, and they burned them all down.
That's news to me.
They drop bombs. Who dropping bombs? Not the average white person. Central Park was a black colony. Central Park was a black colony. It ain't no more. It's a park.
Yeah, the last standing. You had big ones. You had, of course, Oklahoma City. You had 5 Points in Denver, and the last one standing is actually Nicodemus here in Kansas.
Man, like I said, a lot of us know, but we're not saying nothing because we don't want, and we know our people ain't gonna get behind us like that. They gonna shove you down. Oh, shut up! You talking too much. Whatever.
No, we got to educate the next generation. We have to.
Listen, when I sit with people in their 50s and 60s, and I say, listen, if I got $1,000, I got $1,000. If 100 of us put in $1,000, we got $100,000. and that don't jolt you, everybody just walk away like I didn't just say nothing.
Y'all still there?
Yeah, we're still here. We in the middle of the conversation. You just pop in out of nowhere.
So I didn't hear. No, I didn't hear that. I was like, oh, wait a minute. They leave or something?
Oh, no, we good. We get ready to wrap it up. I got to go get my daughter. He got to go get his son. And I just want to make sure, Tone, that is there anything that you wanted to cover that I may have neglected thus far?
Nah, we covered a lot. I just want people. When I say our people, I'm talking about the hip hop culture people. I'm just talking Black people,
right?
Because a lot of people love it just like we do. A lot of nationality love it like we do. Right. A lot of people want to, but are scared because they know the other side. They know those people, and they know what those people do.
Right.
They looking for the great white hope, but a lot of us is looking for the great white hope too. Because we think they're gonna finally give us something, and they not. They not.
Ooh, he said we looking for the great white hope too.
Because I mean, you know, you got people doing these million man walk marches and stuff. I've never been. But the day after, the week after, the month after, what happens then? What was that march for? What happens then after the march?
It just gave them an opportunity to photograph and identify 1 million Black men that aren't in jail.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
out of those 1 million Black men, what was collected? Did you collect money to buy land someplace, to buy buildings? What? Did you just collect it for you to live off, and you to buy buildings for you and your people?
I feel you.
I started an organization maybe 2 years ago, me and Tony, Hip Hop Elders Association. You know, we trying to get members. We trying to help people with burial insurance. We trying to help people get their felonies off them. And felony is the new jail.
Man.
You don't have to go to jail. Felony is the new jail.
Yeah, you can't find no place to live. You can't get no job.
Yeah. So one of the things we trying to do is help people get their felonies off them so they can start living again.
Where can we find more information on the Hip Hop Elders Association?
We trying to get it running right. We trying to build a team. We trying to, get people. I wanted a chapter in every state. I wanted it to be like the NAACP. I don't want it to just be another hip hop thing. I want it to be something where people really invest in and understand that this is to help feed people, help people get jobs, help people live a peaceful life, where you don't have to I've been home since 94, and I still have a felony, and it still keeps me from getting an actual 9 to 5 or whatever. People don't understand what a felony is. You're free, but you're still in jail. That's what it is. Somebody is still controlling what you do, because you go to get a job, and then when they find out you're trying to get a certain job, they gonna send a letter. This is this person information. So we have to get like-minded people to think like we got to build the bank, and we got to start buying land and buying buildings and be in control. We never gonna be in total control, but just get to a point where we can start living a more positive life and helping people in a positive way. We need grant writers. We need non-profit people that know how to run a non-profit right without me making a mistake and have to serve time for a mistake that I wasn't trying to steal no money. I just signed the wrong paper, you know. But if they gonna come get me soon as I make a mistake, because they don't want nothing positive going on for us anyway. You know, my mother always talked about Geechees and Geechees and Geechees. And then I'm looking at TV one day and they talking about how the Geechees was getting the land from the slave owners and then selling it. Not even keeping it, just selling it, and they building, you know, houses and stuff, and paid them pennies for it, but they making crazy money. You know, it's things you hear that we could be doing. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Look, there are 144 minority-owned financial institutions in the United States. Of these, 19 are Black-owned. My grandmother was Geechee from South Carolina and the swampland. So I know that culture very well.
Okay.
The money that they got for that land was big money back then. It's nothing now. But the same as, you know, when Jackie Robinson got $50,000 salary, that was the equivalent to $500,000 today. So it's unfair to compare the monetary worth of something from back then
to now.
But I will say that, you know, oftentimes people back then didn't have the foresight to know that we need to own these things and keep them in the ranks, so to speak.
Yeah.
But
now
having also witnessed them burn down Black settlements and take away that land, get nothing, it was better for them to sell it then and get something than be burned out and killed and have nothing.
Well, now that we're in a different state of mind and a different state of life, we should have a conglomerate organization or whatever. And this is one of the things we do, is buy up land. Now, I'm going to hit you with something. I worked in tobacco in the South as a kid. I broke tobacco in the South. Didn't know I was on the plantation at the time. Until as I got older and I said something wrong to the other man, and my uncle jumped in between us and got me out of North Carolina because I said yes to this other man in the wrong tone. I didn't call him, I didn't talk harsh to him or nothing. I just said yes to him without the right
deference,
pronunciation, you know, yes, sir.
Yeah, without the right tone of deference.
But I'm from the Bronx. I'm coming from the Bronx down there every summer, working tobacco.
Right.
So, you know, I'm like, he asked me a question, I said, yeah. And he got highly pissed behind it. Like, you don't say yeah to me, you say yes, sir, Mr. Pobaz, sir. And even till the day when my mother passed in 2018, you know, we putting together her stuff. And when we went to search her high school, the first thing came up was slave state.
Yeah.
In 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So when do we start correcting, changing that? I'm not going to say correcting it because that's what it was. But when do we start changing that?
Bro,
Because I think in this day and time,
yeah,
shouldn't nothing come up slave state or whatever.
But it was a slave state.
But it was.
And that's a historical fact. It's not currently a slave state, but if you search Kansas, it'll come up as a free state.
But why would you still want to be known as that?
They don't want to be known as that, but why would we hide that? It don't make
not hide it, but change.
That's like it. I'm gonna disagree with you on that, brother, because that's like DeSantis and them taking slavery out of the freaking history books.
Well, I ain't saying remove it out of the history books or anything.
Yeah, but it still should pop up as a historical slave state. Let them
like right now.
Let them be tagged what they were.
They took down the Columbus statue and they trying to put it back up. They got people going to these schools named after all these slave people, all these slave owners and stuff like that. But they start changing that up to make it to ease the feeling. So ain't no place, ain't how many places is named after Nat Burner that white people deal with. And even that, I looked in, I read up on him, and I'm saying, oh, he only killed 66 people? But in return, they killed over 400 people.
Exactly.
They don't say that. They just say, oh, Nat Turner did this and Nat Turner did that. And I'm thinking, he killed a couple of hundred people. I read he only killed 66 people. I'm like, but it ain't the fact that he killed 60. He had the nerve to do it.
Yeah.
So now they gonna kill a whole lot more than him just to scare us that don't try that again.
Yeah, because it takes a certain level of commitment, first of all, to kill somebody, but it takes a whole different level of commitment to kill your captor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When your captor ain't doing nothing but killing you and your people.
Exactly.
Like I when I found about the all the places they had the butt camps and how they was break the, what did they call them? They sleeping with the men and all that to break their spirit and all that. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, wow. Having sex with the wife right in front of the husband to break the spirit.
Yeah, so you couldn't do nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Look, we got to get out of here, man. We got to get out of here. We can talk all day. We're going to have to do a part 2. Sounds like we got to do a part 2. So I'm going to pull out and I'm going to shout you out. The Hype Magazine Live Sessions. Hey, look, this has been DJ Tony Tone, founder of the ColdCrush Brothers, one of the elders of hip hop and a key figure within the culture, continues to be this day, still actively DJing, advocating for the culture and the people within it, not just here at home, but across the globe. And I refute the title of Dusty, because to be Dusty, you have to be sitting still and allow it to collect on you. The brother is active, moving around and contributing, unlike some who run their mouth and don't actually contribute anything other than commentary. So the Hype Magazine Live Sessions, DJ Tony Tone, ColdCrush Brothers, get ready for hip hop, National Hip Hop Month coming up in November. And then next year is the recognized national recognition of the 50th year of hip hop as a culture. Congratulations on all that you have, all the recognition that you received, Smithsonian, the United Nations, etc. Thank you for all that you've done for the culture and continue to do. I look forward to talking to you again. Until next time, we are out.